Welcome back to the channel. Vinland Saga Season 2 Episode 2 reaction. Man, so for this episode, Einar is finally given a formal introduction to Thorfinn, okay? Now, the first thing, dude, that surprised me in this episode is how, Ketil essentially says to Thorfinn that, dude, I'm going to give you and Einar, this forest of mine, okay? And what you guys are going to do is essentially work the land. You're going to cut down all these trees, work the soil, and then essentially farm, right? And you're going to pay back until, it has so much value that you can buy yourself out of it being owned. Now, I don't think Einar as well as Thorfinn understand how much of a big opportunity this is, right? Because this dude has literally changed their lives to give them the opportunity to not only buy back their freedom, but to also acquire some skills that are practical in the real world, okay? So I'm like, this dude has to be sent from heaven, man. What's the catch? One of the big things that stood out was, of course, this guy has given, or Ketil has given Thorfinn and Einar an opportunity to work. But dude, the amount of manual labor they would have to do. I mean, cutting down those trees with axes, taking the wood away, working the land, planting, maintaining the crop, as well as watering it. I mean, it's just the two of them. Seems like quite an excessive task to do. One of the things we find out also is that Ketil also allows for Thorfinn and Einar to get lunch, right? Not only to get lunch, but it's delivered to them. I'm like, this guy has to be the coolest slave master ever. I mean, that sounds messed up, but, funny enough, these kind of people, I can bet you somewhere, somehow, there was a slave master who used to be this kind of way, right? And then we get an introduction of the hands or half slaves as Einar and Thorfinn described them, right? So these guys are sort of the middle management of Ketil's farm. So these are the guys that are supposed to bring them lunch. And it frustrated Einar, to essentially say that, guys, this is our food. Why are you eating it, right? But because these guys are so entitled, they say that Einar should be, grateful, right? And then Thorfinn comes in and he says to them that thank you, okay? And one of the guys says that, Thorfinn, you need to teach this guy to be grateful, okay? To me, that symbolized, or it actually showed that Thorfinn, for some reason, he's been broken, okay? I know we're going to get some form of a background story to actually understand how did Thorfinn get where he is now. But you can tell that this is not the Thorfinn we know. I mean, Thorfinn doesn't take shit, dude, okay? And if Einar himself is getting pissed off, I mean, Einar's a good dude. You can tell from his character introduction that this is a guy that doesn't want any smoke. Now, one thing that I will say about these hands or half slaves is that these guys, they're the perfect example of middle management, okay? How many of us know some form of middle management where they've been given some form of power and they obviously have to abuse it? Now, back to Thorfinn's demeanor, right? I don't know if he's like this because he's playing it safe. Okay, he's focused. He knows that he actually has an opportunity to get his freedom back. That's why he's not, being confrontational. But even so, even if it's trying to be strategic, to think about all of the additional work they're doing on behalf of these hands. I mean, it's such a laborious task, So sooner or later, he's going to have to tell these guys where to get off so that him and Einar can actually focus on what they need to do. So Einar at night, he's having a conversation with Thorfinn, right? And he's pissed off, rightfully so. He says to them that, dude, it's not fair that we have to do our work, right, to try and liberate ourselves. But on top of that, we have to do work on behalf of these guys, right? And rightfully so. I mean, if they're doing the work, as we saw them trying to, carry one of the trees. I mean, just to take one tree using a old horse, it looked like such a laborious task, and to expect them to farm the land as well, nah. So the following day, as soon as Einar sees Ketil, he tries to snitch on him, okay? He tries to snitch that, you know what, dude, we are trying to do, what you expected us to do to try and liberate ourselves, but we're doing work on other people. Not only that, they're eating our lunch, right? But man, my boy Einar saw a baddie and he just lost focus. Gents, this is why we must remain focused and on the ball at all times, okay? I mean, he should have actually told him that, dude, we're being abused here. These guys are exploiting us. We can't even get what we need to do done. So the following day, you know, we've got the gang, we've got Kettle, we've got Einar, we've got Thorfinn, right? They're trying to, you know, the farming, right? Carrying out their day-to-day activities. So we get an introduction to Kettle's son, okay? So Kettle's son, dude, is a very dislikable character. I mean, spoiled brat, entitled, doesn't even want to cooperate or learn from his father. Now, the striking thing for me is that, you know, such a stand-up guy like Kettle, how does he even get to raise such a spoiled brat like, you know, the young master, you know, as is referred to in this episode? You know, in one of the scenes, he even gets into a confrontation with his dad and he tries to pull out a sword and he can't even use it. You know, what a coward. So in one of the scenes at night, the young master, you know, he's got himself a young thing in a room, right? And he reveals that he's got ambitions to join the army, okay? In one of the scenes, he sees like a butterfly, tries to strike it and he misses it. I mean, just to show you how incompetent this guy is, walking around with a chip on his shoulder when he's trying to be given a farm, to live a nice life where he doesn't have to think about the spoils of war, you know. But how many of us do we know these kind of guys walking around with a chip on your shoulder? They've got guns, they're getting into fights. We know tons of people like this in actual reality. Now, the toxic thing is that the young master, obviously, you know, he slept with this young lady. Then we go outside, bro, and this young lady's dad is listening in on the conversation. This dude says that you're doing a good job, young lady. He's encouraging her because, you know, that's how these poor families would get rich in the olden days, okay? They would essentially get one of their sons or daughters to marry or have a child with somebody of high stature, okay? So they can have some claim to the inheritance or the fortune of, you know, the royal family or whatever the case may be. Dude, he even says that they're going in for round 2. Think about that. I mean, this dude is shameless. Shameless, bro. But I guess anything for the bag, okay? The young master now budges out of that room with the young lady and he confronts the two parents, okay? Now, one thing that I will give to this guy is that he might be arrogant, he might be a bit dumb, okay? But it's not all the way stupid because he tells the parents of the young lady to say that I know what you guys are up to. This is essentially a cash grab for both of you, okay? But can you blame them, bro? Honestly. So at night now, the following day, Einar is having a conversation again with, you know, Thorfinn to essentially say that, you know, this kid is very spoiled, okay? This dude is so spoiled and he doesn't know the spoils of war. War is hard, you know. I mean, Thorfinn, Einar, they've seen firsthand what war can do. They've lost loved ones. Einar even goes to describe, you know, soldiers, people who engage in war as animals, okay? As he describes these guys as animals, he doesn't know that he's actually sitting next to one of the biggest animals or the biggest animals when it comes to war, right? You know, funny enough, then Einar starts to introspect, okay, to think about how, you know, his family or his village has been attacked twice. North England and then Denmark, I believe. He tells Thorfinn about all the loss he's had in his life. And man, there goes Thorfinn, dude. I mean, Thorfinn is sitting there facing the other day. Einar thinks he's even sleeping. And you could just tell that Thorfinn is actually self-introspecting, you know, not only about, you know, all that is lost, but also, dude, about what is done probably in war. You know, I mean, Vinland Saga is not a fantasy anime. I don't know how to put it. You know, where you know that it's all going to be nice and jolly. They're going to take down the big bad. I mean, this is a realistic war story where people like Thorfinn don't have superpowers, dude. You know, so you quite wonder what form of comfort, you know, characters like Thorfinn are going to have at the end of the series. You know, because it's quite a sad story, dude. It's quite a sad time. You know, very realistic series to a degree, okay? But yeah, overall, great episode. It's great actually spending time with these characters, you know, the slow episode, the character building, you know, before we go into the war and turmoil and the hurt, you know. But yeah, that's it for the episode. Guys, if you enjoyed the review, please definitely leave a like. And in the comment section, let me know what was your favorite moments for episode 2 or what I could have missed. And obviously, if you enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. I'll check you guys next time.